but this is not quite possible. So this is the best way we're going to do it. So I see one of my team members has just started the recording for me. I was about to start that. So yes, notice we are recording. Maybe I should introduce myself first. All right. So good evening. I'm Dr. Patricia Gous, and I'm from UNISA, and I'm on the team that developed the teacher training material for this coding and robotics curriculum that you're going to teach in all your schools soon. And so we're very excited to have you here with us, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So just by word of house rules, we're going to ask you to keep your microphones muted and your videos muted, just to save some bandwidth, but I'm sure we'll have some great discussions after the presentations, and we'd love to hear your stories and hear where you are and how the training has fared until then. So we are assuming all of you have registered on the MOOC site. If not, I'm sure by the end of this evening you will know exactly how to do that. And so I have a team with me, and I'm going to ask them to each just unmute themselves so that you can just hear their voices. I'm not sure whether they're going to put their cameras on, but you're welcome to just to hear their voices. So obviously I'm Patricia Gous, and then Denzel Chetty. Do you want to unmute, Denzel?
Thanks, Patricia. Good afternoon, colleagues. Looking forward to the session with you. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Denzel. And then Prof. Davids.
Hi, welcome to everyone. I'm greeting you from the Fair Escape, and I hope you're going to enjoy your session with us today and in the future, of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Davids. Thank you so much. And then we have Safura Miran.
Hi, I think I was supposed to do the welcome, but shall we just do it now?
Yes, you can. Thanks, Safura. All over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. It gives me the greatest pleasure to welcome you to our first webinar in the Coding and Robotics course. As Patricia gave my name away already, my name is Dr. Safura Miran, and I'm one of the facilitators of this course. You are tasked with pioneering the coding and robotics subject that is to be introduced in the CAPS curriculum. I am sure you are just excited as we are. I know I really am. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, and digitization has become a need for South Africa if we want to keep up with the global world. Computers and the internet have taken over the world, and we have to keep up with the times. Today is an orientation to the course and the MOOC site. So I'm not going to go on and on because the main focus of this webinar is to orientate you towards this. My hardworking facilitators, they have all really worked very, very hard. Some of them have introduced themselves to you already, and the others will do so just now. And all the best for the course. Please make sure you use the chat to communicate with us. Over to you, Patricia, to introduce the next member. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Safura. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, we have Shoran Singh, or Professor Singh, and he is the Chair of Department in School of Computing, Information Systems. Shoran, would you like to say a few words?
Colleagues, greetings and welcome to this webinar. We are really looking forward to interacting with you all and spending time with you all and trying to understand how we can facilitate and assist you all better in this space. So we're a very open team. You are welcome to contact us at any point in time. This is going to be a departure from what you all are normally used to. We are going with a really 4IR approach to this coding and robotics. And I believe that you all will thoroughly enjoy this experience. Colleagues, thank you so much. I look forward to interacting with all of you all. Cheers.
Thanks, Shoran. Thank you so much. Yeah, indeed. So you've got this whole team behind you. Yeah, so we will see each other for the next few weeks on a Monday. I think what we really would like to say as a team is that we are here. Please, you need to ask questions. We know a couple of your colleagues have not accessed the MOOC portal yet. This week we're just doing orientation. We will have a recording available, and so we will write to give everyone up to speed, obviously, as soon as possible. All right. So without further ado, I am just going to present an overview of of kind of what the offering is, and then Denzel will take you on a tour of what is in store. So let me just share my screen. No, not that button. Let me just share my screen quickly, and then I will kind of guide you through the process, and I'll need somebody just to confirm that they can see my screen.
Clear?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful. All right, so really, this is an orientation. You've seen this screen, and so we can start on the second screen already. This is the robotics and coding, and really the focus is equipping our teachers or our educators. We're going to give you an overview. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what works, what doesn't work. If you have issues, if there are things that you are really not grasping or understanding, that we would love to hear from. But also, I think it's important. We're in the 4IR, and as Sharon was saying, it's new. All right. And if you find something that you'd like to add to the content, please feel free to do so. All right, so you've met all the team members. Moti Singh is in the background, Ibrahim is information technology, and all the multimedia is done with Laura Schultz and her team as well. So kind of you've got a good team behind you. Okay, so you'll probably know from the document of robotics and coding, there are 5 streams, and so what we've done is we've put it into two different MOOCs. So the first one, we're doing digital literacy, and that has the first 2 streams. And then the coding and robotics has 3 streams. And then together, you'll get your certificate then and your CPD points. Now, we're not sure how many are aware of what a MOOC is. And by definition, it's a massive open online course. And MOOCs open up a whole world of accessible and persistent learning. And so we're really hoping that this is the start of a new journey of learning because of what is available out on the other platforms. So it's online. We will be going updating it with relevance, and it's available. Accessible, reliable. It's a reliable resource which we're going to update regularly. 24/7. So the cool thing is once you've done the course and you want to refer back to it, it'll still be available. And just for a heads up, all UNISA MOOCs are 0 rated. They're 0 rated, and yes, they're available 24/7. Okay. Okay. There you go. And now why am I not getting my... Oh, there we go. It's got the heading in first. Okay. All right. So we sent out invites with a link, and then you had to register on the MOOC portal, and that was UNISA, the UNISA portal. There was also a little video to show you, to orientate you how to get onto the portal, and I'm sure Denzel will again explain that. But what the cool thing was, you could just start your studies immediately, and there are guides to all the stages. So this diagram you'll see often, and it always has a little red arrow wherever you are. So it'll show you, you start here with MOOC orientation, and then you go through unit 0, 1, 2, and it's got little arrows as you go along. And so by the time you submit your assessment portfolio of the first MOOC, then you're kind of there. And then you start with the second MOOC and you work your way down, and then you'll get your certificate. So that's kind of in orientation, but we keep this picture available on all MOOCs. Okay, so digital literacy is the first one, then the coding and robotics, and they're both on the MOOC portals. So just by way of outlining what's in the first DBE001 is your digital identity and security, safety around the use of digital platforms, basic e-communication technologies, basic networks and the internet, and then the use of safe web browsers. And I must add there, cybersecurity is really important for you as an educator, but also for every single learner that is being taught by you. All right, so this is just kind of an overview. You start with unit 0, then you have 1 to 6, which is the content. We'll catch up with you unit 7, that's the wrap up, and then every unit has introductions, contents, links. They're all linked to the curriculum policy document. There's some lesson plans and some activity examples, and we're looking to you then to submit alternative or enhanced or plans and examples, all right? And then you have a portfolio assessment activity that you need to do. And then you complete this MOOC first, and then obviously you move to the next one. Okay, so once you've completed the digital literacy MOOC, the first one, you'll get a little red arrow that says, woo, you're over here, and then you commence the second one. The little red arrow will show you exactly where you are. Okay, and then you'll do exactly the same process for the second MOOC. On the left is membership. You will select joinable tab. You'll find DBE002. Hasn't been published yet. We're hoping to get you first through DBE001, and then DBE002 will be published. All right, and then once you're done, then you can claim your certificate. So at all times, at all different steps, we are on the webinar. We will be presenting topics. We will also tell you which topics we're doing. Please watch the announcements. And Denzel will also explain to you how we're going to communicate. We need to keep it kind of into one space, and so that's what we're going to use the MOOC portal for. I'm going to pause now, and I'm going to hand over to my colleague Denzel, who's going to take you on a tour of this really cool space. All right, let me just stop sharing so that allow Denzel the space. There we go.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Once again, good afternoon to colleagues. I'm just going to share my screen so that we can all follow on the screen. So colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, this is the UNISA Open Learning Portal. By now, you would have created an account, you would have registered, and you would have joined DBE001. This is the title, so this is the course code, and the course title is Digital Literacy. When you get onto the site, this is what we call the landing page. So I'm going to run you through the site, but I'm also going to give you a bit of some snippets of what's ahead so that you have an idea of what the course will unfold, some of the themes that we will cover, but also how the site itself unfolds in terms of an online course. So right at the beginning, you find that this is what we call the learning management system with this course. This is what we call the front page. On your left-hand side of the screen, we have what we call navigation bars. So when you find us referring to click the navigation bar on your left-hand side of the screen, this is what we actually refer to. You find the welcome page. The welcome basically sets the context for you, tells you what you can expect from this course. It gives you an idea of the purpose statement, a rough idea of the contents, the key questions that will be covered, how long it will take, important dates. And as you know, we've released this MOOC on the 13th of October. Today is our first starting our first webinar, 18th of October. However, we've also noticed that there are many that are still not on the platform. So we are also giving them some time this week to enroll and helping those that do not know how to create an account to just get online so that by the time we actually start the study units 1 onwards, that we have majority of them back on the site. So this is your overview page. On your right-hand side of the screen, you will then find announcements. Now, the announcements are very important because we use this to communicate with you for upcoming webinars, any information that we would want. So, for example, if there's some valuable resources that we find, open education resources, or some course content that we want to release to you, or even inform you about an activity, assessment activity, we use the announcement. So what's ideal is that you click on the announcement, follow the announcements quite regularly. You might also, if you opt in when you click on your profile, which I'll show you a little later, you'll also be able to activate the announcement such a way that it comes with a notification into your inbox every time that we post up something. Under calendar, you will find that we link up with the activities. For example, the webinar today is the 18th of October. We have a webinar. If you click on the link, it'll open up the webinar schedule for you. So we also use the calendar as a way for you to orientate yourself for what you can expect, what your expectations are, what our expectations are in terms of deliverables, but also how you can pace yourself using the calendar as well. Now, the idea of a massive online open course, similar to what Patricia has said earlier, it allows for your autonomous learning as well. So you will work through this at your own pace with the idea that you will pace yourself to complete the assessments, complete all the activities. but it also helps you to structure your experience on the basis of whether you're working during the day, you have more time during weekends. So it allows that flexibility as part of this course. This is one of the ideas of an open course design, the flexibility to shape the learning experience based on your own time. Below that, you will find what we call the forums, and this is where many of you have already posted. I will come just now a little bit later to this, of the discussion forums, and you can see there's already 29 posts from the colleagues that have registered onto the platform. And then this is an interesting chat. This is what we call the chat tool. Now, the chat tool allows you to communicate with your fellow facilitators, but it also allows you to communicate with your fellow educators, your peers in this course. And one of the things that we encourage and we stress as part of our teaching approach is that we encourage peer-to-peer support, peer-to-peer engagement. So the idea here is to use these type of innovative spaces that we have on the platform to creatively engage with each of your peers. Now, you may ask me, but how do I know who's online? So in the bottom of the screen, you'll see a little icon with a profile picture, like a little icon with people. And if I click on this, it'll actually open up and show me who's online that I can communicate with. So you can see at current moment, there are 20 people that are online that are available to communicate with in the chat room. So to access the chat room, you simply click on chat room and it opens up the tool, and you'll be able to see exactly who posted, the date, the time, and what the comment is. And it is quite simply. So for example, all you do is simply, if you can test it out now while we're here. So if you're online, you can simply post up a comment like great. And you simply click add message, and it immediately pops up your message on the screen. So this is a good way for you to communicate with everybody. It's instant chatting, but it also allows for both synchronous and asynchronous. Now, synchronous meaning real time, that you can chat immediately, but asynchronous also means that you can post your comment, and later on when the facilitators are online, they can respond to you, but you'll be able to follow the thread of conversation as part of this. Thank you very much, Lucinda. I see you posted up. Thank you. So thank you. You can see how fast it works, and it's quite easy to chat on. Now, you'll also see that the green icon. So for example, Lucinda put up a profile picture, and I will show you how to do that as well. But you'll see as soon as the participant is online, a green icon, a green dot comes onto the side to say that this participant is now online, and you can engage with that participant. You'll also be able to see the participants that are now active in the chat on your right hand side. So you see that it really creates that kind of engaging platform or engaging space that we want you to explore as part of this learning process. So you'll find that our team itself will frequently be online, engaging with participants, responding. So this allows us as facilitators as well to engage you and bridge that communication gap with you. So navigating this MOOC. Now, we are also aware that for many, the idea of a learning management system is quite new. It also then means we need to orientate you to a little bit about what does it mean to navigate this space, announcements, discussion forums, the tabs. Now, these are common concepts that we use in this course, and we sometimes take it for granted that you know what it is. So to bridge that gap and also for you to have that understanding of what these concepts are, watch this video on navigating the MOOC. It runs you through exactly how the MOOC will operate, but also how to use the different tabs. So it shows you a live on demonstration on how to navigate the MOOC platform. You will then find, as I noticed, the calendar announcements tab. Then also you will be able to see a little bit about your facilitators, meet your facilitators. So for example, you've got a list of your facilitators that you can engage with that are part of this course, and you've introduced to some of them. And all you would simply do is click on any of them to find out a brief bio of who your facilitators are in this course. Following that, now you will also notice that on your course view, you are not seeing the full view that I have got, because at present, you've got the student view and I've got the facilitator view. The facilitator view allows me to see all the courses that are now hidden with the idea that we will release these courses once we have all participants as part of it, so they don't become, it's that feeling of an overwhelming feeling to them. So as soon as that we have majority in, we will start start publishing the other study units so that you can immediately access it. But I'm going to run through some of the study units now as well, so that you'll have a good idea of how the study units are placed out, but also what you can expect in it. So now to understand, we have what we call a syllabus tab. Now the syllabus tab basically gives you an idea of what you will find, how the study units are structured in this first digital literacy MOOC. And as Patricia has mentioned, this is the first of 2 MOOCs, right? So the first one is a digital literacy MOOC. And while we understand that we have different levels of educators in the space, some may be at an advanced level in terms of digital literacy, some may be at a basic. The best thing for us is not to assume knowledge in place, but to build it up from the foundation. So what we do is we take everyone from foundation to the robotics. The idea here that if you are much more advanced, you will work much more faster to this, while if you are not too familiar with some of these key concepts, you will still have the opportunity to learn these key concepts and go into the coding and robotics with the same knowledge level, giving you an equal plane with everybody else. So once you finish just looking at your syllabus, you will then see study unit 0. Now, by now, many of you would have engaged with study unit 0, and you will find that all your units have a similar look and feel. And even your coding and robotics MOOC, the second MOOC, also has a similar look and feel. And the reason why we standardize the look and feel is so that you have some familiarity with the course content and how it is actually structured. So study unit 0, you will find the title, you will find the study unit 0, you'll find the title, and you'll also find a numerical value indicating the average hours that we would expect you to spend in this. So for example, if this is 50 hours digital literacy MOOC, we've divided that 50 hours into what we expect an average student to spend on these units, and I will show you how that breakdown now works. But in each study unit, you will be given an indication of what's the average time for you to expect it to complete this. Now, obviously, as I said earlier, some of you may go much more faster, some of you may take longer, but the idea is you'll have in that estimate. Patricia mentioned the what we call a MOOC overmap or MOOC view, and this is to tell you exactly where you are in this journey. So for example, the moment you click on study unit 0, you will immediately say you are here. Study unit 0, you are now in introduction. So it gives you an idea that these are the rest of the journey ahead of you in this MOOC. We start off by simply unpacking, for example, you would have seen in study unit 0, what is a MOOC? Now we not take this for granted that many of you may be new to the phenomenon of a MOOC, massive open online course, but the idea of massive meaning scalable, that it is scalable, it can accommodate large numbers of students. So students, both in terms of the design, the pedagogy, the assessments, are scalable. Open implies that there are no restrictions to enroll for this course, that it is open knowledge, open access. It also implies that what we use are open access materials. And online implies that the basic medium for which we deliver this is in the online medium. And course implies that we follow a full course structure, the conventional structure of a course with clearly outlined learning outcomes, main purpose of this MOOC statement with a set of learning activities. So you will have a traditional experience of what an online course looks like, but also what an online course gives you in terms of your facilitation in this course. Then what we've done is to make life a bit easier. We've created a set of MOOC icons. And each of these MOOC icons, these 4 MOOC icons, resemble or symbolize certain things. For example, the first icon that you see is the heading icon. Whenever you have a learning activity, you will find that icon. If we want you to download something, you will see this icon. And then the last icon is your portfolio activity icon. Now we'll discuss a little bit about your portfolio as we go further down. The MOOC syllabus, so let's go to the MOOC syllabus with the hours. So the course is divided, composition of this MOOC syllabus is 50 hours. Study unit 0 is 2 hours, and what we want to achieve in study unit 0 is simply an orientation to what it means to being an online learner, what it means to be part of this MOOC, and what we expect from you, but also what you can expect from us in terms of the content and the delivery. Then study unit 1, we will talk about what is digital literacy. We will contextualize it specifically in the African context, the global context, the African context, the South African context, and then also a little bit about what it means to you in an education context when we talk about digital literacy and how that can be contextualized in your space. You will then move on to study unit 2, which talks about understanding the basic components of a computer and how each functions, and that's 5 hours. Then study unit 3, understanding the internet and web browsers, that's 5 hours. Study unit 4, understanding basic productivity and social media platforms, 12 hours, and here we'll give you a selection of that. We'll discuss that with you as well. Study unit 5, managing knowledge retrieval, critical, aesthetical, and abstract thinking skills at different cognitive levels. So you'll find that study unit 4 and study unit 5 are slightly longer because study unit 4 is more the applied skills and study unit 5 is really the applied cognitive skills as well. Study unit 6, managing online and digital well-being, 3 hours, and then wrap up 2 hours, and then the portfolio, which is 12 hours dedicated to your portfolio, which I will discuss as well. So we use 2 modes of delivery. Actually, there's a third mode of delivery, which we will talk about a little later. But the two modes, basic modes of delivery is the following. It's an online course. And this will be supplemented by webinars on the MS Teams that you are now currently engaged with. So we will have the webinars where we will discuss each section of each date webinar hosted will discuss certain elements of the course. Now, it's impossible for us to go through the entire online course word for word as I'm doing for some of the sections now. But in these webinars, we will find that we will discuss and highlight and extract some of the important things that we want you to focus on. And then we will also allow you to engage with us on elements that you need clarification on as part of this. So the webinars is a supplement to the delivery mode to allow you to engage with us and for us to engage with you. The third part of this delivery mode is what we call a companion book, an ebook, which is a companion to the MOOC, and this will also have allow you to page through that with the activities, etc., as a third element of this delivery model. Specific learning outcomes. And these learning outcomes corresponds to your study unit. So, for example, foundational understanding of digital literacy, understanding basic components of a computer and how it functions, understand the internet and web browsers, understand the basic productivity and social media platforms, then the ability to manage knowledge retrieval and critical aesthetics, and then the last one, the ability to manage online identity and digital well-being. 2 of the 5 streams from coding and robotics are embedded as part of this digital literacy MOOC. The duration, as I mentioned earlier, is 50 hours. And as the breakdown earlier showed you, you will then need to pace yourself through this so that you don't. And one of the greatest challenges that we've noticed in the UNISA context, specifically in distance learning, is that many students think they can leave this for last minute. And then what happens is you lose out. One is you end up trying to push too much of information in the last minute, but also the way online courses are designed, it's designed for interaction. It's designed for you to engage with your peers. So what we try to do is create that space for you to engage from each other as part of a community of practice as well. So this is why we encourage you 2 things. One is don't leave the MOOC for last minute to complete. Try to pace yourself through this so that you can take full advantage of being embedded in a community of practice, learning from each other. And that's where your strength lies in this design of the MOOC. Prescribed materials, all content that we have for this is either directly in the course content, or if we have links to provide additional content, they are all open access and free to use. So you don't need to buy any material as such to engage with this content. Then you will also have learning activities. And learning, we differentiate between learning activities and assessment activities. So learning activities are literally the self-reflective activities that you will engage as part of this. And these are MCQs, can range anything from MCQs to discussion forums to short paragraph questions, answers. And these are learning activities to allow you to engage your own skills and follow your developments as part of this, right? And then the assessments are specifically towards your to receive a certificate in this course and towards receiving the basic criteria to move on to the coding and robotics ones. Now, participants will be required to submit a portfolio as part of this assessment. So the portfolio is basically an accumulation of activities, assessment activities after each study unit, right? So each study units 1 to 6, will conclude with a portfolio activity that is designed to assess the competencies achieved in each of these study units, right? These activities will then be consolidated in a portfolio, and we will give you clear instructions towards the last part of how the portfolio. So we will have a dedicated session that will focus with you. We will focus with you what are the contents that needs to be part of this portfolio, and how you to actually submit the portfolio in terms of its structure. So we'll cover that in detail with you as part of our last session on the wrap up. Now, this is very important for us. Participants must achieve a minimum of 50% for successful completion of the MOOC. So to complete the MOOC, it's simple 50%. But for those that are doing the coding and robotics MOOC, you must attain an 80% pass that is required. And the reason why we say an 80% pass that is required is that this is foundational knowledge for the coding and robotics. So there are concepts that we use, there are terminologies that we use in the coding and robotics. We don't go into detail in discussing this later on in the second MOOC because we take it for granted that if we discussed it here in this MOOC, you will already gain that knowledge. Now, you may ask, what happens if I don't get that 80%? Does that mean I cannot go any further? No. Because the way this is structured in the idea of an open course, it means that if you do not attain that 80%, we won't stop you from moving forward. We simply say you fell short of achieving X, Y, Z competencies, complete this activity to demonstrate the competencies that you can move on. So it allows for that continuous development in order for you to ensure, or in order for us to ensure that you've got that 80% competencies to move up. So we will actually walk you through this in such a way that we do not let you fall behind, but walk you through attaining that 80% as part of this foundational model. So skills for an online learner. And these are basic, colleagues, these are basic extraction of skills that we notice that any students that study in an online environment struggle with. So these are some of the things: time management, self-discipline, organization, academic writing, reading skills, knowing our digital language, how to navigate. These are collaboration tools, simple kind of stuff, but these are things that form part of the embodiment of what it means to be an online learner. So the very first activity, which some of you have completed, and I indicated 29 of you, is a discussion forum activity. And here you actually simply introduce yourself to the participants in the MOOC, click on the forum link below and post your response to the following: what is your name, where you are from, your province, what do you think is important, why do you think it's important for educators to have a basic set of digital literacy skills, and what are you expecting from this MOOC, right? So this was one of what we call a forum activity, and I will show you where that is now. And then the second one here was the learning activity B, and the idea here was for you to complete what we call a pre-course assessment. Now, the idea of a pre-course assessment is we want you to self-rate yourself right at the beginning, your knowledge levels, right? Based on the competencies, the activities, the outcomes that we've just highlighted for the course. You will then do the exact same post-course assessment, same questions towards the end of the course, and you will be able to project your own knowledge trajectory and competencies and skills growth in this course by looking at your pre-course assessment and your post-course assessment. Okay. Now let me show you exactly where the forums are, right? So you would have clicked the forums and to complete activity 1, and you would have landed up on this page, on the forums, right? And if you look at here, you'll see there's 29 people or so that have now posted introductions on their comments. So to do this, colleagues, many people get confused. So I'm going to show you how simple it is. So all you do is when you get to this point, you click on the link, you get to this point, you simply click start a new conversation. Now I see that some people have clicked here and they continue the conversation. The correct practice is simply click start a new conversation. And when you click start a new conversation, it asks you for title. Now you can either say, what we suggest is simply say activity 01, whatever the activity is, put the activity number here, right? And then this is where you would post your comments. If we ask you for an attachment, you can add an attachment, but in this case, we're only asking you to post your comments. So you quickly do your title, which is activity 1, post your comments, response to that activity, and then you simply click post. Once you click post, it then literally takes you and it posts your comments directly on the space. Okay, I'm not going to click anything, but you are welcome to go. And now the idea here is that these discussion forums are open because we want you to see what the other colleagues are posting as part of the learning process, right? Then you've got study unit 1. Study unit 1 is basically what is digital literacy, and this is 2 hours. And as I said earlier, yeah, you'll see now you've moved to study unit 1, and this gives you the outcomes of study unit 1. So study unit 1, we basically want you to look at a foundational understanding of the term digital literacy, key questions such as explain the term digital literacy and its components for the current era, identify the foundational skills in digital literacy, why do you need a core set of digital literacy skills in teaching environments. You can see it's, while we're talking digital literacy, we want to contextualize this so it speaks directly to your teaching environment. A generic digital literacy course will not be sufficient for you if you are in an education environment. We want you to see what are the applied skills for you in your teaching environment. And then also, why digital literacy important for coding and robotics? Why are we creating this link for coding and robotics? So this is part of the idea in study unit 1, right? Then you will also see that we embed, as part of this, we've got videos and video activities. Now you would click the video and these videos play directly inside this. So you don't need to click it and go onto YouTube. It embedded and it plays directly inside. And then you will see what we also have is these interactive spaces where you post a comment on the video. So for example, we asked the question after watching the video, explain what you understand by the term fourth industrial revolution. So colleagues watched this and then they started posting their comments directly below. So it allows for that kind of continuation in terms of pedagogical approach to understand, to watch the video and immediately post your context. And there's some brilliant answers here in terms of how the fourth industrial revolution, I've read some of these, and now in terms of how the fourth industrial revolution speaks directly to the daily lives of us as citizens. One of the important things that you will see through this part and also through the coding robotics is we try to speak to what does this mean for us in the African context as opposed to simply a general context. We try to bring this core, the two MOOCs directly back home. Study Unit 2 colleagues will then look at the basic components of a computer and how each functions. You can see the tab moves down. And here as well, colleagues, what is components of computer, our computer functions. We look at the importance of operating systems, computing, introduction, etc. So this will now take you into Study Unit 2, where we provide that critical element of what it means for you to understand those key concepts that we will start using in the coding and robotics MOOC as well. Study Unit 3, we will then look at the internet and web browsers, and this is 5 hours dedicated to this session. Here we will look at what is a basic definition of an internet, what are browsers, what are the functions of browsers, and what is downloading. As part of this exercise, we know that in the next coding and robotics one, you will be using Scratch. So we will expect you to, we will show you how to download Scratch as part of this Explore It, so that when we get to the coding and robotics one, you will already have Scratch downloaded and accessible for us to start using as part of the coding and robotics courses. You then move on to Study Unit 4. And Study Unit 4 now talks about basic productivity and social media platforms. And as we know, there is a vast variety of social productivity apps and social media platforms. But what we've done is we've looked at specific ones that we want you to look at. So for example, what productivity platforms can you use an educator, the typical MS Word, the PowerPoint, and while we try to allow for generic use so that whether you're using whatever operating system, whether you're using a open source productivity app as well, the same principles can be applicable. Then we also touch a little bit about the video conferencing tool, and the tool that we touch more strategically here is on Zoom and MS Teams. And the reasons why we touch on both Zoom and MS Teams, as you know, is the institutional one, a preferred institutional platform that we use at UNISA. And Zoom was generally a lot of teachers we've seen use Zoom during the COVID time to bridge the classes. So we touched a little bit. We also want to introduce a little bit about that so that we have that common understanding of what these are used for. Then we also touch a little bit about social media sites. But when we talk about social media sites, we also try to bring in a little bit about what these sites can be used for, how it can be used, but also what does it mean for us in the South African context to use these platforms, but in terms of also thinking of the privacy of public information, Act, the POPI Act, etc. We then look at Study Unit 5, and Study Unit 5 now talks about managing knowledge retrieval and critical aesthetic abstract thinking skills at different cognitive levels. And here we want to talk about what is a search engine, how do you execute a search engine, what are authentic or legitimate knowledge sites. There are so many sites, but how do we know what is fake and what can be seen as authentic? And then how do you basically reference some of these sites? And then what are the critical thinking skills required when we start engaging with knowledge production and some of these critical sites to find information. Now, this is quite critical because for us, quite important for us is that when, for example, you start going into the classroom context and you're now teaching coding and robotics, the idea of critical aesthetic and abstract thinking skills are very important for you to have those applied knowledges of how do you bring out some of those critical concepts in coding and robotics to your students in that space. So here we've got the colleagues from education, Safura, Professor Davids as well, that are really at that space of what this means in terms of pedagogical approaches when we talk about critical abstract thinking skills, etc. So the idea here is to think about how do we then apply these skills to our classroom context to get that message to the students across in a way that allows them to understand the conceptualization of some of these elements that we are talking about. Then Study Unit 6. We will talk about managing online identity and digital well-being. And here it's quite critical for us to talk about the ability to manage online identity and digital well-being. So what is online ethics? What is ethical behavior? What do we mean by netiquette? Online safety means, and cyber safety, cyber security is quite critical for us. So we go from very broad definition our guidelines to online ethics, what we mean by behaving well in an online environment, confidentiality of information, and then we talk about what do we mean by engaging. So how would you engage as a participant in an online environment while being sensitive to your fellow peers as well? And then we also touch about critical components about identity theft, but also some general principles about online threats, specifically about spam and also some of these phishing emails that are produced as well. So this gives you a good understanding, but also tries to conscientize you to what are some of the dangers. And then at the end of every activity, you will have, colleagues, what we call a portfolio activity as this slide. And these portfolio activities are embedded in every study unit. And when you click on these portfolio activities, it will give you a list of activities that must be complete as part of your portfolio with marks allocated to it. And as I said, when we start discussing the study units, we will also in each of these sessions discuss the portfolio activity, what is expected from you in that portfolio activity, and how many marks as well. So we will guide you through those activities so that you're not left alone, but you will have clear what we call feed forward on what we expect from you in those portfolios as well. Then you'll also have a webinar schedule. You'll find that we've already put up some of the dates for the first 3 sessions. There are 5 or 6 sessions that we will have, so we'll put up the other 6 sessions as well. So that for those of you that are not too familiar with the MS Teams, we've also uploaded a video and a guide that you can also engage with. Then you also have what we call gradebook. And gradebook is where you will find your portfolio marks. So for example, the portfolio marks will be captured here. So you don't need to wait for us. Once you've graded your portfolios, you will be able to see your marks immediately on the system once it is processed. The chat room I spoke to you about, and then we also have what we call a meetings tool, and the meetings tool also allows us to have smaller meetings inside this particular site. So for example, if we want to have a small group discussion, we normally use a meetings tool to have those small group discussions as well. Now you'll find something quite interesting in this course is what we call polls, and polls are typically voting polls where we would ask you a question to get your opinion, to see what you are, where you are in terms of your knowledge in the course, but also for you to see what the cause, what your position on certain critical elements are. For example, this question on digital literacy, if you click here, we ask you, how would you rate yourself against the following digital literacy skills? 1 to 6 questions, and then you have to rate yourself 1 average, 2 poor, 1 poor, 2 average, 3 good, 4 excellent, right? So if you go back, you can actually, and these results are open to everybody. It doesn't show names, it does just simply shows stats. So you can actually see out of 14 people that answered it, 64% said good, 29% said average, and 7% said excellent. So you can actually see the stats in terms of where, whatever questions we are asking, whatever the poll is, of where your class peers are positioned in terms of these responses as well. So colleagues, this gives you a good idea of what you can expect in this course, but also how this course will be run, but more specifically how the platform works in terms of this particular course. And as I said, once you get familiar with this space, the second MOOC works on the exact same principles, which you will find much, much easier to then adapt to based on your first experience with this. So colleagues, from my side, thank you very much. And now you've got a good idea of what you can expect in the MOOC, but also how you can, what's required from you, the time space as well. And I'm sure that this will be an exciting space for many of you as we start engaging in this space. Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you, Patricia.
As always, Denzel, very concise and comprehensive, and I don't think you've missed a single detail there. Everything has been said. I couldn't even think of what else could I ask, but I think you've covered it. But well done. Thanks, Denzel. Okay, so and also thanks to Safura. She's been monitoring the chat here. Okay, so we would love to open it now. If there are any questions that you have for the team, you're welcome to raise your hand and then unmute your camera. However, if you would prefer to not speak, you're welcome to add it into the chat, and then we'll see whether the team can answer your questions. All right, so Fura, you're going to be on the chat, just monitoring the chat, and I'm going to see whether there are any hands that have been raised. If there are any questions. All right, so we have a hand up from Zamakosi. Your hand is up. Zamakosi. you like to unmute yourself? You can unmute yourself, Samakosi.
Yes, evening, everyone.
Good evening. Hi.
I'm fine, and you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much.
I'm okay. I just wanted to find out here, is there any maybe money for the courses that we have to pay for?
No. No. The MOOCs are by definition free access. Yes, but you're welcome. And also all MOOCs, all UNISA MOOCs are 0 rated. So you just need to get onto the MOOC and then you watch all the videos. You will not be charged for that either. All right.
Oh, thanks a lot, ma'am.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Safura, you wanted to say?
No, it's fine. I think we answered them. There was a I think it's Alette. Alette said that there's some confusion with the training time. So they had very short notice to come on board and many teachers were not informed. So I did tell her that this recording will be available to them. And perhaps you can give them more input about informing the teachers.
Yes, we will do another round of emails as well. Yes. No problem.
And I think we want an attendance register. So it would be recorded on Teams. I don't know whether they want it as something as proof. So we need to perhaps send it to them.
Okay, we will get clarity on the register. Yes, we will. Thanks, Safura. We'll just make a note for our next meeting. Okay. Sibongile, I see your hand is up, but I've got your video open, but you're unmuted, so I can't hear you talking. Don't you want to unmute your microphone? There we go. No, again. There we go.
How are you, ma'am?
Hi, Sibongile.
How
Yes.
are you, ma'am?
Very, very good. Thank you very much.
I like to ask you, ma'am, that are you going to sponsor us with data, or we are going to use our data?
The MOOC is 0 rated, so UNISA pays your data anyway.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. And then we have Sizani Primary School. I don't know who the person is. Sizani Primary School. Yes, you can speak. Hi. I think your microphone is not working. We can't hear you. You are unmuted, but we just can't hear you. No. I think for now, put it in the text. All right. Sizani, we'll come back to you. Okay. All right. Oh, there we go. Who's unmuted?
Gloria.
Hi, Gloria. Yes.
Yes, Patricia.
Yes. Hi, Gloria.
How are you, my dear?
I'm good. Hi.
Yes, I'm good. I just want to know, can you hear me, Patricia?
Perfect. I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Okay, my love. I just want to know from you guys, is it the platform for today, is it only for foundation phase? Because the intern and the senior phase teachers at school were wondering because they didn't receive any emails. I need to know, is this platform only for foundation phase for today's one?
Okay, so we have from the DBE, we have a list of educators that really need to do this course because they've been opened. Once we, those are the teachers that do need to complete it. They've been identified as the pilots. But the MOOC by definition is an open platform, so anybody can join us.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Okay. Yeah, a
You're
lot.
welcome.
A lot.
It's open.
Okay, so
It's free access. Yes.
so it's not foundation phase teachers only for this platform. Or you don't MOOC is not like foundation phase on their group, intercent and senior phase on the other group.
Everybody needs to do.
Running. Okay.
Everybody
Okay.
needs to do digital literacy. Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Got you, my dear. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay,
It's
Gloria.
good to be here. It's good to be here.
Good to have you on board. We're going to see a lot of each other in the next few weeks. Cool. Excellent.
Thanks.
All right. That was Gloria. Aletta, I see your hand is up.
A good afternoon or good evening.
Good
Yes,
evening.
I was the one posting the long message in terms of the confusion with the teachers. Maybe I must just introduce myself. I am the Chief Education Specialist at the Provincial Office for Foundation Phase. And why I'm asking that question is because we were swamped since the weekend with queries from teachers, not sure, is this now the actual training? And I think the confusion came in with the fact that we never received official communication from our national department on this. Is there a possibility, because it will really help us to assist you in this whole training process, to include us at head office with all communication? Or the best would actually be to, I know you work directly with the teachers, but it would be very helpful if we are also included, or that you work through our offices, because then we can ensure that our teachers are on board and that they do understand what this is about, because it was quite embarrassing for us to getting the queries, but we also don't have the answers. And we couldn't reach the national office over the weekend or even today to get clarity. That's the one thing. And then the other thing is that many heads of curriculums contacted us through the course of today, having concerns about the training. And I think this particular group and of teachers, when we did the orientation on the coding and robotics, we had a 96% participation. So for us, it's very important that we take this forward, and we're very positive about this, and we're very eager to get on board and to get this training done. But we also realize that we need to do it in such a way that we don't lose our teachers along the way. And it is term 4, and the concerns is the fact that this teacher training is coming into term 4. So the question that we are having to answer to the CCAs is the time frames at least going to be in such a way that our teachers will be able to manage that also in a very hectic and short term 4, because it's also the end of year marks, progression and promotion, all of that. So if you can just assist with that, because if we want to keep our teachers positive and enthusiastic, we need to make sure that these things are in place. Thank you.
Aletta, I'm hearing you very clearly. Yes. So we will. I'll revert back to you. And we'll probably post something as an announcement on the site. We only got mailing lists from the DBE.
Yes.
So I think that's maybe where there was a lack of communication, that we needed to add another layer of heads.
I think what I will do is I will post my email address in the chat box after this with my contact details. Okay. So that will help, that you can make direct contact with us, and then maybe we can see how we can streamline the program forward so that we can not have this confusion. Will that help?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
And I'm hearing you about the adaptable timeframes. The next 10 weeks are going to be mild chaos. I hear you.
Okay.
I think we're all in the exam mode. Yeah. Okay, let me get back to you on that one. Fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. Nice to speak to you. All right. Solofelo, you have your hand up and we're waiting very patiently. Solofelo? Okay, and then Ashna. Did I say that correctly? I see you're unmuted. You're welcome to talk. Ashna?
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I'm just querying, since this course is going to be for a few next weeks, and we are experiencing, this is new to all of us, is it possible that we can create a WhatsApp group just to like chat on sections that we finding difficult, or if one of us needs help, etc.?
We'd like to have all the communication within the MOOC portal, but there's nothing stopping you making your own little WhatsApp group. You mean per province?
Just for the teachers in general that are on this course.
Okay, you could, yes. No problem.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, and let's see what else we've got here. Smons. Smons, you have your hand up?
Yes, Tricia. I just wanted to know if the meetings will be held every Monday of every week. Till when?
We're going to post what the topics are, and if we need extra, then we will have extra webinar sessions. No problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Welcome, very welcome. And then the next one down the line is Mapule. Mapule, you've got your hand up?
Hello.
Hi, yes, Mapule.
And what I would like to know is that, are we going to attend every Monday at 6 o'clock?
There will be recording, so if you can't make it on a Monday, you're welcome to watch the recording.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay. And okay, let's go onto the top here again. All right. Zamakosi, your hand is still up. Would you like to speak again?
No. Sorry, ma'am. I forgot to put it down.
High five, lady. High five. Gloria, your hand is up. Is it a high five? Okay. All right. Gloria, your hand is still up. If you got, okay. Solo fellow, your hand is up. Solo fellow. Okay. Sophie, you're unmuted. You're welcome to chat.
Yes. Good evening, colleagues.
Good evening.
My problem is I was in the taxi and I didn't hear so much of the presentation. So I saw someone there posting that we must do some assignment. So I wonder if I'm not lost if there is assignment.
So Sophie, you're welcome to listen to the whole recording. There's a recording of the whole meeting.
Oh, okay.
So in peace and quiet, you can listen to the whole recording. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
But thank you for asking. Thank you. All right. Joy. Joy, you have your hand up?
Coco.
Joy?
At least I share.
Khlamani?
At
Hi.
least.
Hi.
Tana.
Oops. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Thanks. Unless you're asking a question. Patricia,
Thanks.
you okay? Go ahead.
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Joy, you have your hand up? Joy, would you like to ask a question? Joy is going to. All right. I think we have come to the end of the question. I don't know, Joy, would you still like to ask a question? No. Okay. Sephora, would you like to just quickly just chat through the chat questions?
I think I've answered them all. The main thing is providing them with the recording and talking about it. So I think we've gone through it all. It's all on the chat. So it's fine. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is now 7 o'clock. We've been here for an hour. We've given you an overview. If there are any further questions, I just see one hand. Joy, are you going to ask a question? You unmute yourself and ask. No? Okay. All right. Then I think we're done for the day. We'd really like to thank you for joining the session. Oh, Joy, you're unmuted. Yes, we're listening.
Okay. I would really like to know, ma'am, we as a school, we were required to have to implement robotics.
Yes.
As having to head just one workshop. What the implementation thing, when does it start? How does it start? Is it that because I am a pilot, I was chosen from a pilot school, now I would have to start with the robotics, even though I am not so sure about it. They gave us lesson plans and everything. So the implementation part of it, when does it start? Does it start now, or do we have to go on having to have that which we have on our hands, like the lesson plans that we were given? That's what I want to know, ma'am.
That is a DBE question. We are just tasked to train the educators. But I would, yes. Have you been implementing robotics already up until now?
Yes, it's been like 2-3 weeks.
Okay. Okay, then I think you proceed as is, and we can maybe get clarity from DBE on that topic.
Okay, ma'am. Please.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I see there's a chat going there as well. Thanks, Sephora. Okay. All right. And then Tsolofelo?
So finally, I have a voice. Hello, Patricia.
Excellent. Good to hear you.
It was something to do with my permissions. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, gosh. Okay. You have permission to speak, Tsolofelo.
Well, thank you, Patricia. Denzel said something about differing percentages to pass. So I was just wondering, does this mean that we have to register for any additional modules, or is there another MOOC? Because he said something about a 50% pass and an 80% pass, so I'm confused.
Okay, so this MOOC is open to everybody, all right?
Yes.
To pass this MOOC, you need 50%, then you pass, all right? But if you're part of the group that have been identified as pilot schools and you want to proceed to robotics and coding, they require an 80% pass.
Ooh, okay. So I just found this. I just found this for myself. This was basically just me being curious. And I very much want to be a part of it, the robotics and coding aspect of it. But I'm not one of those schools that are piloting, unfortunately. So what can someone like me do to be a part of it? Or is it impossible?
That is a DBE question as well, where schools want to volunteer for the program.
Oh, no.
I can ask, but I would say go for it. You're here.
All right. Where does go for it? What's the link? Who do I speak to?
The MOOC portal. Did you get an invitation to join the MOOC portal?
No, ma'am. I was just curious. I started Googling and then I ended up here. I'm excited.
Okay. All right. So if you, at the beginning of this recording, Denzel took you through where we are on it's UNISA, the UNISA MOOC portal. So it's mooc.unisa.ac.za. You go onto the MOOC portal, and on the left-hand side, it says create an account. So you create an account, and you can use any password. Okay, and then you go on to log in, and you log in onto the MOOC portal. And then on the left-hand side, it says membership. And on the membership across, there's 3 tabs, and the one is joinable sites. And if you scroll down under joinable sites, you will find DBE001.
Yes.
And then you go for it.
I did do that actually.
And then after, and when you finish DBE001, comes DBE002.
Ah,
right.
Will that come now, or should I look for it like after this?
DBE002 hasn't been published yet. We first need to get people through DBE001.
Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Patricia. I'm excited.
You're so welcome. See you soon. Okay, nice to hear your voice. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Fellow found her voice. That's excellent news. Ashna, you've got your hand up again. Hi. Ashna? Oh dear. I think Ashna, I think your microphone is not giving you. All right, let's carry on with Matilda. Matilda, Wurta?
Good evening. We have the same question. We are in our offices. We are 2 people that are invited and on this, but we have a 3rd person that's actually the coordinator for us. Is it possible to join it then? So if he goes onto it and he registers, then he can join.
It's a free space. It's an open space. Yes.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Okay. The people that need to complete it, though, need to complete it, and everybody else is mostly welcome. Yes.
No. We'll complete it. Don't know how, but we will.
No, we're going to meet every Monday here, and we're going to get through this. It's a whole new world going to open up. Awesome. Thank you, Matilda. All right. Ashna, are you unmuted? Are we going to talk now?
Hi.
Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Ashna.
So that you have from the DBE, so DBE gave you a list, and then you have random people also joining. Will everyone get a certificate or just the DBE people?
I think in all UNISA MOOCs, everybody who completes it gets a certificate.
Okay, so that includes like if I want a friend to join, she will also get the certificate.
I'm sure. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And then Solofelo, have you still got your hand up? Is that a high five?
It's a high five. It's emojis. Just never mind me. I'm being a groupie.
Okay, all right. Feel the hand. Awesome. All right, and then Joy, you've got your hand up. Hi, Joy. Joy, is it your microphone leaving you here? No. Oh. All right, Matilda, high five. No.
Sorry, did I put it down? I thought I put it down, but now that I'm on it, may I ask that we've had teachers that we orientated the teachers. But now, in the meantime, as things go, people have moved away from schools. So now you sit with less people at the school and you have to add another person. So then what you're saying is that that person can basically join on here.
Yeah.
Even
it's
if
free.
Okay, thanks a lot.
It's open access. Absolutely. Yep. Okay, excellent. Joy, are we going to hear? Joy? No. All right. Okay, Joy, I can see you. I can see you now. You just got to unmute your microphone. So Joy is not a. Are we gonna unmute you so you can speak? No. Can't hear you.
Unmute again and speak.
I think she's battling to unmute.
Yeah, sometimes the computer just mutes you automatically.
She can write her question in the chat.
Joy, I think write it on the chat. Thank you very much. All right. Sure. We've got a very participatory group here, and it's really amazing. Thank you very much. So I don't know, Safira, would you like to have some closing remarks on this very entertaining and interactive session?
No, I think it's very interesting, and interesting because everybody is so part of it, and it's going to be very interactive. I think next week we'll have more question and answers and interaction. So for now, it's orientation. So let's, as they browse through the MOOC, next week we'll have more interaction with them.
I think so. I think so. I think you're right, Safura. Absolutely. All right. So on behalf of the team, the Code Robot team, we would really like to thank you. Denzel, last words for you before we close? No, Denzel's microphone is giving.
No, it's okay, Patricia. I'm okay, Patricia. Thanks a lot.
Oh, there you go. All right. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's been really good to meet you. We'd love to see your participation and interaction on the MOOC portal, and we are looking forward to our Monday sessions every Monday, where we actually invite participation. We would love participation rather than just a one-way lecture. All right. Bring your questions, bring your answers, bring your extra things that you've discovered, and great to meet the class. All right. So thank you very much. I'm going to, Moti, I think you started the recording. Would you like to stop the recording?